Well, hello everybody, welcome back to Only Leeds Bros, and imagine not being Leeds, teaming up for your first ever episode of The Final Point. And the reason why you were calling it The Final Point is because we're all having a point and we're chatting about Leeds United, so what else more could you want? Cheers, boys. So lads, how are you getting on? Dillo, come to you first. What's happening? How are you recovering after Leeds yesterday?
Absolutely dying all day, lads, I'm being honest with you. It was rough. I just have to shout this out here and just love the way Matty's here. And everyone's going to love this. Look what Matty got me, lads.
The Piro fanboy for life.
It's not even that. The missus thinks now she's going to get a cuddle at night. It's not happening. This man is taking over the bed.
At least Piro won't chat back to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Hope she's not watching this.
No, I hope so too. I'll lock myself in the room for the night now with Piro.
Matty, how are you getting on, buddy? Just seen you were on the final word there with Joe. You're looking all professional now with the mic and all. How are you keeping, bud?
Yeah, a little bit annoyed. As you'll have seen yourself, technical issues. I think it was mainly laptop rather than the actual internet. My internet's fine, to be fair. Just need a laptop I can directly plug into the router daughter. But yeah, I'll sort one out this week because everything else I think looks pretty well. I've improved the facilities over these last fortnight, but now we just need to sort this laptop out and I'm good to go.
Yeah, but like that, you can plan everything and you can have all these good shows in mind and all this. Exactly like us when we're doing the match day vlog of we'll get into Leeds early down to Ellen Road, we'll interview people, and then the flight's delayed. So you can plan everything, but life just hits you with these bits, and especially when you're relying on the internet. Like Dylan, there, we're even lucky the show is going ahead tonight. Weather's really bad in Ireland today. We've wind warning, and Dylan lost his electric there. What were you gone for about 2 hours, Dylan, weren't you? But you're back.
I was gone for about 2 hours, just twiddling me thumbs. Nothing was going. Couldn't even watch the Liverpool match. Couldn't do nothing at all. No heating, no water because it runs off the electricity as well. It was a disaster. Just sitting there looking out the window, feeling sorry for myself. So
but you're back on live anyway. Yeah, but it's still fairly bad here. So hopefully it calms down, and hopefully, please God, the internet stays all good for all three of us anyway. But look at lads, we'll get into it. Obviously, we're here to talk about one thing and one thing only, and that's Leeds United's brilliant performance yesterday. And we'll try and delve a little bit deeper in. We can all kind of just turn around and say, look, yeah, great 2-0 win, but we'll try and go a little bit deeper. But first of all, Matty, overall, what do you think of yesterday's performance?
Unreal, mate.
Friday. Sorry, Friday. My days are all over the place. Sorry, man. Friday.
You've had a busy weekend, haven't you, mate? But for me, the performance of the season, lads. I know Coventry won a 3-0 win, and that was the performance of the game up to that point. But I think this one, because of the level of the opponent, we were nervous going in with Mellier's mistake at Sunderland. I do feel like we've come out of this and the people who were nervy I think everyone outside Leeds expects Leeds to win the league, apart from Leeds fans. And I think this is the game. We go on about statements, don't we? And this is the game where I think a lot of Leeds fans go, hold on, this is ours now to lose. And yeah, I mean, they weren't nowhere near as good as I expected them to be, lads. I don't know what you feel, but I do feel that was down to us. I don't feel they're coming on a poor game. I think we just nullified them. I think I kind of think Wilder overthought it. He changed his formation. Played Shackleton. I was shocked didn't play Raksaki. I think he maybe overthought it. And we just sort of got to go with what we've got, haven't we, at the minute? We had a couple of players back, but they were on the bench, as you know. That started 11, all being over on international duty. It was always going to be a struggle, so we just had no choice. Just go play football and do what you can. And there were no time for really tactics. There were no training sessions. And I think just man for man, we proved we are the best side in the league, even with injuries. Our depth, I mean, I don't think they could withstand losing 2 or 3 of the first teamers like we can. I was really surprised, to be fair, that how well we're looking when we're really scraping that depth. You know what I mean? It just goes to show that we've got the recruitment right. And yeah, for me, it was just a statement win. That's the title I would use, a statement win.
Yeah. And Dillo, we go to you. What did you think of Friday's performance?
I have to agree with Matty there. I think it was definitely one of the best performances of the season. Going back to just after international break, yourself, lads, we have a course after the international duties. There's a course over us, but Tanaka getting man of the match, lads. Flying halfway around the world to put off a performance like that. that's phenomenal. You know, that's unbelievable. Going into obviously like even Rotwell as well. Like the boys in the middle of the park, they really stepped up. Obviously replacing Ampadu and Gruev. But there seems like there's that kind of hype again around Leeds, and obviously I noticed that over the weekend. Look, I'm not there all the time, so obviously, you know, it just felt like it was more togetherness again, you know, and it reminded me a lot of Leicester, and not just because they played I Predictor right at the end of the game, but just that kind of, you know, sorry for wasn't get into them, you know what I mean? But the players, you have to give them 10 out of 10 lads, especially the lads that did go on international duty. You know, a few knocks here and there towards the end of the game as well, but overall, it was definitely a great performance. 3 points on the board, and it really did shut Chris Wilder up, didn't it, and put him in his place, which I absolutely love. You know? So
that dude at Conga, it's just been stuck in my head. I won't sing the full version, but it's just I can't get it out of my head. Like just going around all day singing it, like what a class. Yeah, much the same as yourselves, lads. I was obviously last week we kind of touched on it, and we said 3-0, but I just had this feeling in me, and like that there was no kind of evidence or anything to kind of back it up. I just really felt Leeds were due. This was due in this. It could have easily been 3 or 4. Overall, I thought to a man, everyone was absolutely unbelievable. I think I've watched Strikes go back about 4 or 5 times even before we came on stream, Dylan. I was watching it again. Like that finish is so underrated, and it wasn't like when Rotwell played it along the ground, it was kind of an easy kind of swing your foot at it. The ball bounced just before he met it and caught it perfect into the top corner. An absolute unbelievable finish. All around, I thought everyone played well. Aronson was again not that he played bad, but kind of was just kind of in and out of the game, and kind of has been for the last while. So I think there might be a little conversation there to have with Aronson, especially now that Solomon and James is back. Was it a thing that the international duty was a little bit too much for him? He tried, he worked hard, but you could kind of see it in him. He was a little bit laggy, wasn't he? Other than that, I thought Ramazani was unbelievable. I thought he actually stood out a little bit more than Nanto. And again, look, we've all kind of touched on Rotwell and Tanaka. For me, Joe Rotwell he was unbelievable in the middle of the park. He moved the ball so well, his tempo every time he got it. And there was one thing I noticed from he always wanted it. It was always an option. He wasn't hiding behind the man. He was coming, and he could see him shouting. He was pointing. Even when Tanaka had the ball, he was telling them where to go. That's what we need. That's what we've been craving as a real leader. We've been saying now with Ampadu going out, we've kind of need the likes of Strike and Rodon to kind of step up to the plate and be that player, to be the leader of the team. Joe Rotwell done that the other night, and I've seen his man, there was a space for about 5 or 10 minutes, and I kept saying to you, Dylan, look at Rotwell. He just dictated the whole game. He was able to slow it down, he was able to pick it up. He was just really, really good, and there was one side of the game that I didn't think that he had was his tackling. His tackling was absolutely phenomenal. He had that little bit between his teeth. He wasn't afraid to put in tackles at all, and I was very, very surprised because I didn't think that'd be that was his type of game. For me, he was man of the match, even though Tanaka was really, really good. But then he kind of wasn't away on international duty, and the performance that Tanaka put in after being away on international duty, the travelling that he had to do, was a phenomenal performance. But I just thought it was a little bit harsh, and obviously Matty, we kind of came away from the ground. We were kind of saying we thought Joe Rotwell might have tipped the balance, but for me, both of them were unbelievable. They complement each other really, really well. There was one thing we obviously touched on in the build-up when we were saying how Sheffield United are going to get us, and obviously we were all very fearful of the likes of Gus Hamer, Callum O'Hare. Ragzaki didn't start, which I thought was a strange one, because I was really, that was kind of their pace, and that's what I was really kind of worried about, especially if he was going to be down Bogle's side. We obviously know what Bogle is. He gets forward, and that was kind of where I was thinking they might get at us. Tanaka and Rotwell didn't allow them any chances from the middle of the park, and it was something with Sunderland when Joe Bellingham and Chris Rigg was allowed to pick up the ball in our 18-yard box. It was something I was really, really fearful of, and thought that that's where they might hurt us from. They didn't have any opportunities at all. Tanaka and Rotwell really nullified them. The whole back line was solid. I thought Rodon started, Matty obviously touched on it as well, and Dylan, I thought Rodon was like a little bit tame, but again, I don't know if it's because he was on the 4 yellow cards, if he was kind of watching. There was a chance very early on when the ball.
It's very frustrating though when you're sitting there as a fan, and it's a fast-paced game, and you know, all of a sudden they're on a counter attack where he put the ball over the top, you know, and we discussed it there, and you know, it was a clear chance for Rodon to either header or go through him and take the ball, but he let the ball bounce a second time, for their
Just
striker to take it
hesitate
down.
a little bit.
And
Yeah.
it's just that sort of stuff is what's going to lose us points. As you said, I understand a yellow card. For me personally, as a Leeds fan, and just in general at football, yellow cards are going to come and go, red cards are going to come and go. And these are things that you're just going to have to take on the chin when the time comes. You can't be letting players get in through on goal. Lucky he didn't, but he was just a bit hesitant, and then there was a few times I noticed as well. This is the only kind of negative that I have to say about the game. Was just I feel like Rodon was forcing it. He was forcing passes. He was forcing. There was a few he was kind of over the top, and it was bouncing out of play. It happened a few times, first half and the second half. But same thing again. He's doing the job at the back. It's just he's a completely different player than what we've seen from last season.
Mm.
I mean, last season, he's the one out of. Last season, he's the one out of the two of them we think can take that step up to the Premier League. I mean, we've seen Strauch, and he went okay in the Premier League. I think a lot of players didn't, do too well in the Premier League. So it's sort of like he's dropped down that division now, and Strauch looks a Rolls Royce in there, and it's Rodon who's struggling. I mean, I do think the yellow card definitely played an issue on Friday. Sorry,
Had to.
He's 100%. He's usually the defender who is like that, and he is quite strong in the tackles. Strauch's the more fancy player out of the two of them. He's got a bit of flair about him. He's more about with the ball, 100%. Whereas with Rodon, you expect him to go tight. You expect him to put himself about. And that one you're on about there with Kiefer Moore, that first 5 minutes, Kiefer Moore bullied him twice. And I was saying to the bloke next to me, like, Strauch needs to be on him. He's been too physical for Rodon. 5 minutes later, ball comes in, Strauch wins ball and all and takes him out. And that just set the tone. Then I feel like everyone had a nervous 5 minutes. And with that tackle by Strauch, it just set the foundation. But hold on a minute. We can have these. And for me, then, Kiefer Moore was silent the rest of the game. It really was. Yeah. And I think that tackle, something small as a tackle, can get the crowd up for it, especially on a game where we're really nervy. And he grew into the game, did Rodon. Like he's grown into the season. He's got better as the season's gone on. I think in games he starts off a little bit shaky and then pushes through. And I think as a back four and the midfield, they didn't allow any space, which I was surprised at, not having 2 sixties. Like Farkas made you think we need 2 sixties, but we don't. Yeah. We were all right with Calvin in there before and Clicky playing further up. We don't need 2 sixties. And that defensive unit, including the midfield, for a game where if you're a Sheffield United fan, coaching staff player, you're thinking shoot on sight because Melier, we don't know how he's going to cope. We didn't even give him anything. They didn't even test him, which that is the one game out of any goalkeeper you come against. You're going to want to test that goalkeeper to see what his mental steel's like after the biggest howler we'll see this year.
After what happened, yeah. And
they really protected him. And you saw at the end of the game, Strauch and Rodon and Melier hugging each other. And it was just nice to see that unity after, Firpo storming down Tunnel and Sunderland, which I don't mind, by the way. But it was nice to see that unity where they're like, we've got through this one. And now that's the raise now. Yeah, and I know we lost 2 points, but that's the raise now. We can move on now. He didn't have a shaky game. He didn't have much to do, granted. But he didn't have a shaky game. He came out, he punched what he needed to punch. He caught a few balls, and we never looked like conceding. And I think that was down to that steel we've got in that defence, like it's there. One of them shake it, other one steps up and then breeds confidence throughout the rest of the team.
Yeah. No, definitely. You hit the nail on the head for me, Matty. And I think what you said, it was kind of just after that when Shrike kind of nailed more, it kind of seemed like Leeds kind of started to take control. And in fairness to Rodon, that's probably one side of his game that I think is really, really good. He's very, very good at reading the ball. He'll always get to the ball first and win it first. That's probably one side of his game that he's really good at. It's the other side of trying to play the ball out from the back, and his pass and sometimes can be very, very poor. We've seen it knocking the ball out of play and stuff like that. So I've never seen Rodon kind of be that timid. I've never seen Rodon actually kind of get bullied. Yeah, he can kind of be a little bit clumsy and make fouls and stuff like that, but I've never really seen him get bullied. I don't know, like with it being kind of Welsh teammates, is it a thing? Do you know what I mean? Between them, like he kind of knows the way he plays. You don't really know. But for me, it wasn't really Rodon, and I genuinely think that it was the 4 yellow cards that kind of had it in his head that he's like, look, I really need to be careful here. And you know what? It's probably going to be the same against Watford. You know what I mean? We're going to see him at tightrope. Stroy kind of has that chance. And Rodon might even turn around and say, look, at next time you come over, you nail him, do you know what I mean? You stick one on him and kind of let him know we're here. And look, after that, I thought that kind of set the tone for that. There's one thing that I thought, for me, that was very, very surprising was how timid Sheffield United was. That just wasn't the Chris Wilder side for me whatsoever. Like, you're thinking Yorkshire Derby, Sheffield United, Chris Wilder, everything that's kind of gone on between Leeds, Bogle, Hamer, Leeds, Muppets, everything you expected to kind of be a bit fiery, do you know what I mean, kind of on a knife edge. It wasn't really. I thought it was more kind of Leeds, wasn't it? Leeds were kind of the ones they were up for. They were kind of doing the bullying. I was absolutely stunned how kind of timid they were, and I kind of said it to Dylan at half times. Like, they don't seem up for it whatsoever. We kind of didn't really have any kind of clear cut the first half, well, especially the first 25 minutes. I thought was kind of very, very kind of passive. Both teams didn't really kind of do much. It was kind of just knocking the ball around, kind of getting the feel for each other, but without them really kind of laying a glove or kind of putting a marker down on us. So that was probably the most surprising side for me, is that it seemed like, and I don't know, is this kind of giving them a bit of credit? It seems like that they didn't turn up on Friday night, and I don't know if like that, if it is kind of giving them a little bit too much credit. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that like their expectations as well. Maybe he touched on last season about Southampton. You know, that's last season first and foremost. But
different team now with them.
Yeah, different team, but they were kind of I at the first 15-20 minutes I was getting vibes. I don't know what was going through my head, that it was going to be like Burnley. They were going to catch us on the counter, and that's what they were aiming for. But Leeds didn't really do anything kind of ropey as such. You know, even down to
no mistakes or anything. Yeah,
apart from Rodon, then, you know, maybe silly pat, but it was kind of dealt with at a timely, fairly manner. Nothing was kind of, you know, gasping. But yeah, like I'm kind of just getting the vibe as well. Maybe they were just frightened, to be honest with you. I think Leeds came out there. What Weiler said in his press conference, we were just a better team. It's as simple as that. They were just simply not in it that night. They didn't really, you know, put us on the back front, but they also didn't come out of the game either. Like, they were kind of trying, but it wasn't to the full potential of what Leeds were, if that makes sense. But they were kind of all over the place as well. But it was, look, Leeds were a better team. You have to give credit when it's due, and it's as simple as that. They weren't set up. And then just the role from Tanaka and Rotwell and at the back as well. It was just an overall great performance.
Do you feel the George Baldock situation took the feisty edge out of their game? You know, did that have the opposite effect? I mean, I would expect him to come fired up like obviously you two were. Did it sort of numb them? Did it apply context to the game and then these bigger things of football, and they just couldn't get up to that level what we usually see Sheffield United playing in that derby against us? Because I would expect in Wilder, it's the last thing he's going to mention on the way out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As the emotion did that minute's applause, did it have the opposite effect to what we're expecting? Do you think?
I don't know. And like that, I was kind of more expecting it to kind of be more of a rocket up their arse to kind of to deal with for George Bulldog. Do you know what I mean? I really do. Look, it's obviously it's hard to tell, and like, it's a true sign of football. Every dog has its day. Like, it could have just been a thing where like Leeds were just well up for it. You know, you don't really know. Like, and if you do kind of play football, and you never know, like, these kind of sort of things can kind of affect you. But if you look on the opposite side, we still had Jaden Bogle, who seemed to be very good pals with George Bulldog. And I thought he was outstanding. You know, like nothing kind of directly in the goals, but I just thought he was solid, especially coming up against his old side, his old players. You know, it didn't faze him whatsoever. I thought he put in a really, really strong performance defensively as well. He was good as well. He tried to get forward. Like, I thought he was phenomenal. So I suppose, like, if you have, say, out of that starting 11, if you had 4 of them players that affected a little bit more than the rest, you know, it kind of might tip the balance. So yeah, look, it could be a point there, and look, you're never really gonna know, are you? Like, did that game kind of come a little bit too early, a little bit too soon from after the passing, and is it still kind of like lingering in the dressing room? I suppose we know their next day out, but I don't know. I just had a feeling with them being on the unbeaten run. I had a feeling Leeds were due to wallop someone, and I think just all the stars aligned for us on Friday night. As I said, like, everyone was outstanding. When we were bringing Solomon and James off the bench, I turned out to Dylan, and I was just like, this is like, if you're Sheffield United, and like that, they do have a very strong starting 11, but they don't have anything to come off the bench exactly like what we have. And I kind of felt a little bit unfair or something when we're bringing Solomon and James on, and you can kind of see that. But there was a kind of little passage kind of towards the end, about 10 minutes. It wasn't like that they were threatening, but it was like we were 1-0 up. We were kind of so dominant of the ball, and we never really finished the game. And I said to Amy, I said, don't tell me these are going to nick one right at the death, because it kind of started to have that little feel, you know, when the feelings kind of creep in, like, oh, like, if they could hit us on the counter or like that, a corner. I felt like we needed that second goal, like, just to kill it. And obviously Joseph gave that, and it was like kind of after we could all like it's 3 points, like we deserve it, like because it would have been very typical Leeds to put in a great performance like that, and the exact same thing happened at Sunderland. Them nick one right at the death. I was surprised. I said to Dylan when the board went up for Shackleton. I thought Shackleton was coming on, not going off. I said to Dylan, I didn't even know Shackleton was playing, which was
neither did I.
was mad. I was just like, Shackleton's coming on, and then Amy, my wife, turned around and said to me, she's like, no, he's going off. He's going off. I was like, I didn't even know Shackleton was playing. Like, but yeah, absolutely mental. Obviously, look, it was a whirlwind day. Obviously, being late, I think we got to the ground at like 5 to 8, and that was thanks to Matty, because we definitely wouldn't have made it without you, Matty. But look, it was a great day all around. But kind of going back to the football and side of it, there's obviously a conversation there. We'll touch on Pirro a little bit. I know we kind of mess about Pirro. What did you think of his performance? I think we all kind of said, well, apart from Dylan was saying get Joseph back in. What did we think of Pirro on Friday night?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Because me and you were both Joseph fans more than probably Pirro, and Dylan's the other way, but he called it for Joseph to start, didn't he? But I think it's the best game he's played with not scoring, if you know what I mean. It's normally if he don't score, he's had a bad game, or maybe not a bad game, maybe that's harsh, but if he doesn't score,
an average,
100%. This was the best performance he's had without scoring, and we said he couldn't play in the 10, and he assisted from the 10 position, Darren, which was.
It was a beautiful assist.
What do we know?
He carried the ball so well, didn't he? I mean, don't get me wrong, he had a lot of space to run into because Sheffield United had to push bodies forward. So I understand later in the game you're going to have that, but he showed, great vision there to play that ball through. And we're good finish by Joseph. But we've touched on it a few times, haven't we, lads? I do feel like he needs to somehow get both of them in team, and whether that's Joseph in 10, Pirro in 10, he somehow needs to get them playing, together. And now Solomon's back, I think the chances of doing that are slimmer, but I do feel like there's a conversation for Aronson to come out where that could become a possibility. But I thought Pirro was brilliant, mate. Brilliant.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I was interested to see when Joseph came on, and I turned and looked at Dylan, and obviously we were kind of having a conversation where we weren't sure what way Solomon James were, how many minutes we're going to get, and we're like, is there a conversation maybe to try Joseph in the 10? Because like that, I think he has the attributes to play there. When I seen Joseph coming on and he was keeping Pirro on, because I thought it was just going to be a like for like. I thought it was going to be Joseph off, or Pirro off for Joseph. When I seen him putting the two on, I was looking at him. I'm really, really interested now to see where this sets up. I immediately kind of thought that Pirro was going to drop back into the 10, and I think he was told he kind of put his hands up for. I don't know if any of you noticed, he kind of put his hands up for kind of a split second, as in Joseph said something, and it was like he was a little bit kind of like, I'm not going back into the 10. But it was very much we were playing 4-4-2. Pirro didn't drop.
I said that to you.
Pirro didn't drop. Joseph didn't drop, and it was like it really gave me like old school vibes, like 4-4-2, like, and it was like a bit of a buzz, like kind of seeing it. But then eventually you could kind of see it. Then after the press, then after they kind of got out from our press, then Pirro did kind of start dropping in. Which, look, it's not that he hasn't got that in the game. He has got a pass like that. He can pick a pass. But it's 9 times out of 10. Like, is he gonna make that every single time? Like, I don't think he is, and I don't think Pirro ever will ever be the number 10. And like that now, we have got the options. Yeah, we don't have an out and out number 10, but we have players that can play in there. In my opinion, better than him. The likes of Ananto, Aronson, Solomon can do it as well. I think Joseph will do a better job in there as well. So and look at his performance, kind of all around. I thought it was good like that without even kind of scoring. I thought he did well. His pressing was decent enough for someone who doesn't really press. He did really try. He did hassle them. He was kind of on top of them. So for me, not too bad. Like, would you be going with Pirro again and keeping Joseph out? Because now Joseph has scored. Is it a shout now for Joseph to come back in over Pirro? Because that's going to be an interesting one when it comes to Tuesday night.
You go ahead, mate. I'll let you take that one first.
I don't know. It's a possibility. It changes at every game. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you change tactics, you change personnel dependent on who you're playing. Maybe there's a conversation now that, every couple of games, if you haven't scored and other ones come off a bench and score, there's a conversation you just swap it, because there's momentum in football, in sport, in life's a massive thing. And as we saw, Joseph's just come off back of a hat trick for spitting under 21s. He's then come on with 25 minutes and scored again. And I think he'll go Joseph, if I'm honest. But how long have we had? How many seasons with Bamford being only fit number 9, knowing he's Bamford, whether he plays well or not? And it's so good now. You've got two people competing for that shirt, and when one of them doesn't score, the other one is scoring, which is unreal. So I think every fan will say we're not really bothered who plays as long as we win game and one of them scores. So regardless of who presses and who does this and who does that, I really aren't bothered if I'm honest. And I'm a massive Joseph fan, but like I do say about Pinot, if he can sit on bench and it annoys him, great, because he'll come on and do what he did on Friday night, mate. So if I'm a betting man, I'd say I've got a feeling Joseph will start. But honestly, I don't care. I do not care who starts, because either way, you get an impact off a bench. Either way, because it's proven.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you think it'd be a little
say,
bit harsh in pulling? Sorry, go on.
No, you were mid. Go on.
I was just going to say, do you think it's a little bit harsh to pull Pirro out? Because that's my kind of feel on him. I think Pirro's confidence has been building. He's obviously been scoring goals. It was a decent performance against Sunderland. Obviously, we all know what happened at the end of that. If we had won that game 2-1, like Jesus, Pirro was on the score sheet, we won 2-1. He had a really good performance again the other night at Sheffield United. I just feel it's very, very harsh, and then does that mean that Pirro's confidence takes a bit of hammering if he is pulled out the side, and if he's like, look, I didn't score, but I played well, I obviously assisted for his goal, and now you're pulling me out of the starting lineup. So now my kind of thinking is because we're all kind of saying about Aronson, so in turn, what does that mean? Does that mean Aronson coming out and Pirro back into the 10? Do you know what I mean? And we're kind of back to square one, then we're trying to, like that, get Joseph and Pirro in the same squad, but does that mean Pirro going back into the 10 now?
I think, at the end of the day, yeah, Pirro is, like everyone, you can slag me about him and such, but like Joseph has scored a hat-trick, and he has scored in Friday night's game as well. So going back to what I said, he should be starting. Joseph definitely should be starting. For Pirro to, let it hit his confidence and his motivation. At the end of the day, Frank should be kind of sitting down with the two of them and explaining. Both of you are doing the job what we need. This is a club and a team that's, fighting to win this. So it's not like you're going to be out for 10 games because you didn't score. They're constantly going to be rotated, whether Pirro's on the bench or Pirro or Joseph is on the bench. It doesn't matter. The main thing is that the two of them keep up the work that they're doing. Joseph at the minute has just been great. Like that goal that he scored, the finish was great, but the strength to hold off the defender like that. Not saying Pirro can't do that, but Joseph just has this fire in his belly at the minute.
Yeah,
and he should be starting.
He's kind of a little bit kind of naive. Yeah, it's his age. He's a little bit naive, and that's not a kind of a bad thing at times, because sometimes it's just like, I'm going to do it my way. Yeah, no fear. No, yeah, that's the right word for him, mate. Is that he's no fear in him. To be honest with you, yeah, great finish, great strength for the goal. But we obviously touched on it, Matty, with your mate Priestley. We thought the keeper was a little bit poor for it. He was a little bit hesitant for it. Like if we're looking at the shoe on the other foot and Mellier's doing that, we'd all be hammering Mellier for that, because you could see he kind of came out, he hesitant, pulled back, and then tried to go again. And then by the time he did, he was in no man's land, and it was a fairly easy finish for Joseph. So to me, their keeper was a little bit poor for that goal, but that's not taking away the strength and the finish from Pirro or from Joseph. Look, at the end of the day, he's the one that still has to finish it. But yeah, that's kind of maybe being like a little bit critical. But yeah, no, it was just interesting to kind of get the two of your thoughts on it, because I was obviously thinking about it a good bit today. What does this mean then for Pirro and Joseph? Because it's like now they both kind of seem to be scoring 1-for-1, and there's no real kind of, it probably is going to divide opinion this year. Probably going to get half of the fan base going, oh no, Pirro, look, he's been scoring, he's still a top goal scorer, like, he assisted for the goal. But then you've the other side of it, like that Joseph weighing international duty, and I know it's only 21, got a hat-trick and then scored again Friday night, so he kind of seems to be coming into his rich vein of form. So it's like, who do you start? And then that's my only kind of worry, because look, I'm totally, and I always will be, against Pirro playing in that number 10, and I'm just interested to see now, because we're all kind of talking about Aronson. Does that mean the other side of it now we're going to see Pirro back in the 10? What would you think? Would you think that would be a mistake from Fark to put Pirro into the 10?
Just touching on what you said earlier, Darren, like, would it be harsh to set Pirro out? I don't think it would be. I mean, some people will say it was harsh to take Joseph out initially, because he was still playing well. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how the next few games go, because we're all thinking, he's picked Pirro for a few games because Joseph has scored. It might just be he picked Pirro against Sunderland because it was third game in 7 days. Yeah. And then Joseph's gone away for international duty and Pirro stayed at home. So it might have just been a continuity of that, Joseph. So who's not to say now Joseph won't start because Joseph is his number 9? If you look at it like that, there were reasons to play Pirro tired legs for Joseph. Third game, yeah, we'll play Pirro, an easy switch. And then, like you say, been away then on international duty with Pirro on. So it was just easy for that continuity. He could stay, learn the tactics. Whereas Joseph, I don't think he played both. But he didn't play the second game, but he was still away. He came back with only a couple of days left. It could be that. So we're thinking, you know, whoever scores is maybe getting a goal, which is brilliant. Because, like I said before, I'm sick of only having one man for one position. You know, we don't really care as long as they're doing the business. But I wouldn't be surprised if Joseph is his main man, and it's just been a case of so many games. So maybe Joseph plays Tuesday night and Pirro plays Saturday. There's a lot of games in a short space of time, mate, and it's great to have these options.
Yeah, it's great to have the luxury that we have. Yeah.
Oh, big time. And I know you're worried about that 10 position, but I think Solomon and James coming back, I think that nullifies Pirro going into 10. I think you're allowed to have two really good players for one position. So we're saying try and get them both in teams. I think it'd be great if they could manage it somehow, because we know Pirro scores and Joseph deserves to play. But with Solomon coming back now and those front three behind, the three behind the striker, they just move around continuously. You know, change positions. They're so fluid up there that I don't think we'll see Pirro in the 10 unless there's more injuries. I think we've got enough depth there to allow them to interchange. With Solomon, he can come in. You might even find, I can't see Ramazani or not going on bench. It might be Aronson comes out and switch that up. But I don't think there's an issue with having two viable options to start, one on bench and one playing. Because if you do play both of them, you haven't got a striker to bring on then to change game. If you're then having to take one of them off and push,
you have to take one of them off.
Yeah, and then they're both leggy. You haven't got a fresh striker on because one of them
fresh one coming on. Yeah,
exactly. So for me, it's one of them where you look at it and go, "Ooh, we do it a lot of Leeds fans. Oh, we've got so many good players there on bench. You know, how we're going to fit these in? We don't have to fit them in. We don't have to fit them in the 11. You know, it's a squad game, and you'll have people come off a bench and win your points and get your promotion at the end of the day. So I ain't bothered if one of them's pissed off because it's just going to push him on to do better in training. And ultimately, whoever gets that shirt knows I don't score today, and he comes on and gets one. I might not play next week, and that's what we want. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
It's a good conversation to have. It's not like back even when we were in the Premier League when we had Bamford. We knew Bamford was starting every single game. It didn't matter. We knew he was starting. So it's good that we are now. I mean, it's probably going unnoticed from Leeds fans that we are gradually coming away from that Bamford situation and him being on it. Because even there for a stage last year, Bamford again was still, everyone was like, oh, Bamford has to start. I don't see anyone kind of saying that now. You might only get one or two saying Bamford has to start. But for me, they're probably, you know, kind of a bit like off their trolley, to be honest with you. It's one or the other. It has to be Pirro and Joseph. So
if Mateo Joseph got injured, they'd play James De Gea up front before Bamford. Honestly, it's got to that level. It really has.
Yeah. But like that, it's a good complaint to have. And even with our two wingers, like when you're whipping off Ramazani and Nonto and bringing on Manor Solomon and Dan James with his pace, like 15, 20 minutes to go, like it's on, but like it's a good headache to have. Yeah, we're absolutely spoiled for choice. Obviously, like in the middle of the park and centre back positions, like we're not. So it's like, John, we were top heavy, but like light at the back. So like obviously we're going to need to manage that over the next couple of games. But obviously we've touched on a little bit with yourself, Matty, when we did it with you, when we're obviously talking about the next six games, but in particularly the next 5 that we have coming up, and all 5 of them on paper, you're saying Leeds win. Do you think now that this is Leeds' chance to send a statement to the rest of the league and go, look, we had a bumpy start. Yeah, you were all kind of ripping out of us after Burnley and the Cardiff performance, and it was kind of more so ourselves. I think Leeds fans, we kind of bring it on ourselves, especially after the Cardiff performance. Do you think now that these next 5 games will really kind of tell where the squad is at the whole? I know we kind of still do have injuries, but for the next 5, what's your kind of thoughts where we'll be after them?
Top at league with a big gap. I really do think. I mean, we touched on it before. You know, the level of the league isn't up to last season's standards. All teams around top. You know, it's hardly not when it's so marginal. And I think we haven't even got going yet. Like you said, I think we've played the top 6 now. And we're third? 2 points off top.
Third now, yeah. 3 points off top.
Yeah, 3 points off top, yeah. And we've played a lot of big boys, really. So I think 85 points gets you up this season. I don't think there's anyone to fear. We've played the sides, you know, who are going to be challenging. And even when we've dropped points to Burnley and Sunderland, I'm not just saying it because I'm a Leeds fan, I think any neutral could say we were the better side in both of them games. Just 2 freak moments, you know, lost as a point. So I can't remember playing a game this season where a side sort of matched us. You'd probably say maybe Portsmouth, what closest to actually fair play. They came and scored 3 goals at Ellen Road. They give it a go. But that was first game of season. And, you know, it was a bit of a freak game. But I haven't seen anybody look good against us at all. You know, I don't know how you think about that, but I don't fear anybody. And I think the game's coming up. I feel like it's Leeds against Leeds. I feel like no matter what tactics the other team does, if we play our game and play it well, and what you'll find is if we don't fluff 2 or 3 chances and we get that earliest goal, we tear them apart. Whether it's 5-0 or 2-0, just control the game so well. And that's something the Farkas brought in. They don't jump into a quick and all-out attack. They don't want to get 5-6. You know, it'd be brilliant if we did, but he's got a really good way of keeping the ball. And you waste more energy when you haven't got the ball and you're trying to cover space.
Yeah,
and pulling you from left to right. Leeds are really good at dragging teams left and right on pitch. And I feel like Farkas got them to a T now with controlling games. You know, bar that freak moment at Sunderland, we're all talking perfect away performance that season again. You know, an absolute great performance. But that let it slip. But I feel like we're really good at controlling games, and we've got that star quality to put teams to bed. And I feel like we haven't earlier in the season we're missing big chances. Like you said against Sheffield United, we didn't miss any big chances. It were quite tight in terms of good chances created. There weren't much, but we were still in control of the game. You know, we looked outstanding without creating, and we created not many big chances, but the ones we didn't put away. And for me, you know, there's no one who can match us, and I do expect a decent gap coming. I don't expect us to be third in 5 games time. I expect us to be top of 3, lads.
It's supposed to be top, go, Dylan. What do you think? I think I'm going to put the same question to you. Like over the next 5, obviously, I thought we were kind of saying that we were doing it in like a block of 6 because obviously the Sheffield United game was on Friday. We've obviously got that done. We've looked so dominant. We look really, really good. But like the next 5 on paper, our squad against theirs, we have the few boys kind of come back, Solomon and James. We have these options now. Like your next 5 now, looking at them, where do you think Leeds are going to be over these next 5 games?
I'm not going to split it, lad, and I'm not being negative. It is negative.
But here we go.
Yeah, I don't mean it in a... I just... Leeds kind of always do this sort of stuff. They kind of put it up against the big clubs. And what I mean by big clubs is the clubs that are... what are top, you know, it's usually the mid-table clubs who Leeds just fall off the wagon and lose stupidly. Now, what I mean, get hammered, like, it was just a 1-0 loss. Yeah. You know, but going back to the Premier League, like, it was the same there. Like, you know, even with PL today, we always seem to put it up when against like the likes of Man City, Liverpool.
Yeah,
you know,
we'll always have like a banana skin there. Yeah.
People in the chat are going, "What's this fella on about?" But if you're a Leeds fan, I think you know what I'm trying to say when I put that across. These next 5 games are so crucial, and I wish 100% what Matty's saying. I want that to be true, you know. But there's definitely at least 2 wins out of that, and maybe a draw, and possibly a loss or 2. If I'm being completely honest with you.
Wow.
I know
you've got some mental scars. Deep mental scars.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Deep mental scars.
And I hope genuinely in a few weeks' time it's 5 wins and you can all come on and abuse me. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But I just feel that these games now are going to come thick and fast. There's still tired legs, especially in that midfield, lads, especially at the back. You know, once we're going to get the ball rolling, as you would say, a lot of lads are going to get tired. Youths are going to have to come on. Will they step it up? You know, only time will tell. And then as well as that, another thing in my head for some reason, we don't do as good as what we would do on the weekend to what we're doing during the week games, if that makes sense. Going back to like Middlesbrough now, every time Leeds play during the week, I just say to myself, I could be going to bed very early and switching this game off.
Matty, this is turning into a little counselling session, isn't it?
Unreal. I mean, I can't remember specifically who the 5 games are against. I know it's Watford next and Bristol City Saturday.
We've got
but is he a game in
Watford, Bristol.
Go on.
Sorry, go on.
Watford,
go on, Bristol, Plymouth, Millwall, and QPR, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, that's 5 wins. I'll take back what I said.
That's what I mean, Dylan.
I don't. And especially when I've seen Plymouth getting thumped 5-0 by Cardiff, we have to be beating them. He's beating Watford at home on Tuesday night. Probably out of them games, if you say what's the hardest kind of game on paper, probably will be Tuesday night, but I still don't see it being a hard game, if that makes sense. I see us beating Bristol City. I don't think they have enough. They have nowhere near the quality of as what we have. We have to be beating Plymouth. If we're slipping up against Wayne Rooney's Plymouth, we may throw that hat in. Like we have to be beating Plymouth. Millwall, I can see us doing them easily, and then QPR. I think they're bottom or second from bottom. Like we have to be beating them if we're really, really serious about getting out of this division. Really serious about winning it. I just don't see it, and I keep saying to you lads, I'm not one. I always kind of go on my head and what I kind of think and stay facts. Because if I let me heart rule it, I'll obviously always say like Leeds. But for this time, just looking over these next 5 games, I do see Leeds going on a run like what we did after Christmas last year and beating these teams. And I do see after these 5 games, I don't know, I see 5 wins. I can't say if another team, if we do slip up 1-0 here or there, and it kind of depends how the game goes. Look, it wasn't our day, or stupid red card, anything kind of happen in football. I totally understand it. Or again, more injuries. Look, that can kind of change, and after the kind of next 2 games, you could be looking at it in a totally different way. But I just feel right now at this moment of time, we're picking up that win, how well we actually are playing. I know the Sunderland game, we still played well. Our performances have been really, really good. I just don't see anyone that can touch us over these next 5 games.
I don't. I mean, Dylan, obviously there's red teams out there, and when you hear them individually, you don't actually think any of them will beat us or will drop points on paper. I know football's not playing on paper. So what you're saying really is it's just a Leedsy thing. It's more, when I say about it's Leeds against Leeds, you're pretty much touching on that, aren't you, and saying, regardless of who we play, I just feel like we'll play a lower opposition.
I just feel like
it's just a Leeds thing that we won't pull through.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's kind of we'll win against Watford, win against Bristol, we'll probably draw, but then we'll lose 1-0 against Millwall. It's just a Leeds thing, like, do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's massive. It's a mentality thing. But with this group, you've got to look at it and go, look what happened at Sunderland. Look at all the players in national duty. Look at the injuries, right? That is as big a test for a group of players, men, you're ever going to face. You know what I mean? In football, like that there familiar on the floor, Firpo were fuming. The players were crushed. The fans were falling out. There were social media were getting death threats. Even though it weren't a bad result, the manner of the defeat, it took some getting off the floor for that. Tyson Fury getting off the floor. Fury coming off the floor against Deontay Wilder and pulling through. It's one of them. It one of those moments where Sheffield United, with everything that were going their way and everything that were going against us, to pull through there and show that mental steel is why I now believe they won't do these Leedsy things, and I believe we will put a run together. Barker will have learned from last season, and for me, the squad's better man for man. I think we've got a better squad regardless of injuries. But I think I'm a firm believer, that sometimes you can't get over the hill until you've had a knock. Like, I'm a big rugby fan, and it tends to happen in rugby league. There'll be a team like this season with Hulky Arm. It might be a team who does really well, and they might get to a final. They might have been top at 3 all season, but they might just not make it on that line. But then if they can get there next season and they've learned from what went wrong last season, they've got that experience, they tend to do it the second time. And I think with this group, I think you'll see that with Leeds this season. I think with Farker and the players and the new players that haven't got those mental scars, the few that are there, they're complementing each other really well. And that's why I think with the mental side of the game, Dylan, they're not going to be as Leedsy as we all think.
Yeah.
I'll be right, Matty. I really do, man. I really do.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think even kind of the mental side of it, and I know exactly where Matty's coming from, and kind of like it's the experience of it. Look at, right, we messed up last year, and you kind of right them wrongs. I just think as well, overall, if you think back to last season, lads, we were very, very reliant on Rutter and Somerville. That's all we even Lonto. Like, now it's a lot more spread out. We're looking across the park. We're looking at Pirro. We're looking at Joseph Ramazani, Nonto. Looking at Rotwell now playing well. It's like across the park. And we kind of touched on that last year, and we spoke about midfield Kamara, and we're like, he was fine. He didn't do anything, didn't light it up. Wasn't really one for kind of putting in like Calvin Phillips tackles, breaking up the play, getting the crowd kind of up, or like over the top passes. He was fine. And I just think even with Joe Rotwell, we've upgraded massively on that. And then to have the likes of Tanaka and then Gruev and Ampadu, like overall the squad for me is much, much better than what it was last year. It's like the responsibility is spread out right across the park, and even with the likes of Ampadu now being out injured, now Cooper's gone now, I kind of felt like when Ampadu was handed the armband, like this was kind of on Ampadu now, Ampadu to be the leader. And it's like now the boys have stepped up. You've seen Strike, you've seen Rotwell as well coming into his own. You can see these leaders starting to come through, and that's when that shows a good mentality in a team. When kind of the chips are down, you've kind of lost your leader, that other people step up, and that was like for me, that's what the most kind of comforting thing was, because after Ampadu was out, I was like, well, where are the leaders in this team? And they've shown it over the last couple of games. Like you're looking at the likes of Rotwell, you're looking at Strike, you're looking at Rodon. I've even seen Bogle a little bit as well, Fairpo there as well. So there is leaders in that squad, and it was something that we were all kind of very worried about when Ampadu went out. So I kind of have to agree with Matty. I think this squad, mentally, physically, and quality-wise, is much better off than what it was last season. And that's with the league being a lot weaker than what it was last year. I can't see it. And again, this might be just putting the blinkers on and being Leeds. I just don't see anyone in this league being better than us over the course of 46 games. It's still very, very early on, and we'll all probably look back in this halfway and 2/3 of the way through the season and look back and go, what were we all kind of like moaning about at the start? You know, we were talking about slow football. Like, you can see the wheels are in motion, and I just see Leeds getting stronger while they hit the nail on the head. And look at whether it's kind of, you know, pressure kind of tactics or like a ploy kind of saying Leeds are the best in the league. There's no one else on their level. We've seen everything that he said, but there's nothing that I disagree with him. I don't see anyone else in this league having the quality. I think Burnley are third, like obviously top of the league, decent squad, but I just see us doing them a tough more and over the 46 game season. I just think Leeds are going to be front and centre. We'll get into a couple of the comments anyway. You look like you want to say something. I'll pop in.
No, I don't. No, I just hope he's alright, lads.
So Sean from Wilco White says best performance of the season. We actually completely, all these comments are from age ago. We went on a ramble there. The best performance of the season. The team and the new players are really coming together. Best squad, best midfield in the league. Wilder eating humble pie, don't we all? Graham O'Brien says Wilder is a battered sausage. We scored from a corner, we didn't even touch on that, lads. I said to AB this funny story right at the very start. Rotwell had a corner down the far end of the east stand. Obviously, we were in the cop, and I told him, I said to Amy, I said, would you imagine now? I said, we're at the game where Leeds score a corner. I was like, this is it, like this is going to be the end. Rotwell put in a horrendous corner, didn't even beat the first man, and she just goes, yeah, right, that's not going to happen. And then when we did score from the corner, Amy, I think her nose is like still bruised. I just like threw the elbow, like it didn't mean it. Like, she was like, I looked at her one side, I was like, what's wrong? She was like, you fucking elbowed me. She was like, oh, sorry. I was like, yeah, we scored from a corner though. She was like, my nose. I was like, yeah, but we scored from a corner. It's just, yeah, unreal that we're there for it. Definitely to see the team starting to gel and playing well together. 100% too. Danny's having a little dig. Pirlo who? And Steve Brown says Pirlo 4 goals and 2 assists in 10 games. Most of them off the bench, and that's it. Like his G&A for his minutes played has to be up there with one of the best in the league. Steve always being the best. Bit of needle going on. Danny will never agree on Pirlo. Think the opposition may determine who starts against. Yeah, and that's obviously what we've kind of been trying to touch on. Like that, the kind of midweek game, you might see one of them drop out and the other one coming in. But that's the luxury of it. That if one's not working to pull the other one in, mate, you've hit the nail on the head with that one for me. Settle the heart.
You're not thinking.
Jesus.
That there's not even an argument or conversation to be had there, Danny. Now I have to be honest with you. No. Definitely not. No,
yeah, but like it's a good argument though, you know, like it's a good argument. It's not like the both of them are shit and we're trying to pick like the shit, all the shit, you know what I mean? We're picking 2 really, really good players, and it's a good thing to have. Like if the team sheet comes out against Watford and Pirlo starting, it's not like I'm like, what is he doing? Joseph has to start, or vice versa. Do you know what I mean? You're kind of looking going, oh, he went with Pirlo, do you know what I mean? Or he went with Joseph. So like it's a good place to have. Like we're definitely a lot better off than where we were. For me, it all depends on the injuries. Yeah, next.
You're not thinking last season, lads. You had Rutland and Somerville. If they both had a 4 game, we struggled to get a result. Whereas now, I don't know if it was a case that we had 2 excellent players or Premier League players, and then a very good team or a very good squad. And now we've got very good in every position. Maybe not top tier. Maybe they've still got a bit to prove before they get those moves. But for me, I feel like on Friday night, I think Nonto's going to be best player in the league this season. I think he'll take Cree's mantle, but he probably had a little bit of an off game. Not a bad game, but Ramazani steps up and he was outstanding.
Ramazani,
for me, when someone's not playing that well in this season, it doesn't affect us. If our main man, if a striker, Joseph is scoring, Piddle will come into the bench. Last season, if our star men weren't performing, give the ball to Creed, give it to Rutter. If they weren't playing well, we didn't get a result, and I think that was a massive reason why we didn't get the points. Whereas this season, I don't feel like it matters that much. If someone's not quite at the, if someone's a 6 out of 10, someone's a 9 out of 10 to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
As a collective, it's just brought everyone's level up So I don't feel like we rely on anybody now. You know, if Nonto's having a bad game, Ramazani will play well. If Aaronson's having a bad game, Pinner will score a goal, or Joseph.
Yeah,
If
they're all
Bogle's
chipping
having
in.
if Bogle's not doing much down right, Firpo's having a 9 out of 10 down left. I feel like we're not relying on one or two people now. It's a collective, and I feel like that's going to stand us in good stead.
Yeah, and it's not even the collective of the 11 that's on the pitch. You still have really, really good options coming off the bench in the Solomon, in a James. Like it is what you keep saying, Matty. Like the riches that we have coming on is unbelievable, and I just think that quality is going to show. Look, we were obviously hampered. We've got two really big injuries. James was out as well. Solomon was out as well. It was a lot at one time, and it's just about trying to manage it. I think the only thing that could really hurt Leeds over the next couple of weeks is if we do get one or two really bad injuries, and that's in them positions that we've talked about, centre half or midfield.
Yeah.
That could kind of do us suspensions as well. I've just seen Steve here, and this is one to kind of bring up and obviously touch on as well. So 3 of our back 4 a yellow card away from a suspension, that could hurt us. And I'm going to kind of say something here, and this might be a little bit kind of like Jose Mourinho vibes when he was at Real Madrid. Do you think over the next 5 games, because we've obviously touched on it and said they're kind of weaker opposition, do you think Farke might be, say, in a Rodon's ear against, say, Bristol City and go, look, just pick up the yellow card today, we'll miss you for Plymouth, we could do it? Is that a bit mad to say?
No.
Obviously we don't want any, but I just don't see. I think your mate Priestley was saying, I think is it another 7 or 8 games then he has to go without a yellow card. The probability of that, the probability of that happening, it's Firpo, Bogle and Rodon all on 4 yellow cards over these next 7-8 games. Are all 3 of them not going to pick up a yellow card? I just don't see it. And if it is, then all 3 of them then are going to be kind of running the tightrope, like exactly what Rodon was doing. Afraid to put in a channel, half kind of thinking it, overthinking, oh no, I better step out of this. And it's that split second and it's that half a second yard that you're giving the opposition that could lead to a goal. Do you know what I mean? So it's all these, we all talk about these like kind of little moments in football and these half seconds and these kind of 1%ers, and that could be a 1%er. And I kind of got thinking about it earlier on. I said, I'm not sure if it's a point that I kind of want to bring up with you, but would you kind of be thinking that you kind of be looking at that and kind of say, look, we'll obviously find out if like that against the Bristol City. If he says to Joe Rodon, look, go on, just pick up your yellow at Plymouth, we can throw with the boyo in, or would that be a little bit mad to kind of say?
No, not at all. I think you're right in what you're saying. It's inevitable. It's going to come. For me, as long as they don't all come on the same game and they're all missing Fox, the same game, that'd be a disaster. But I think when you look at it, Firpo and Bogle are both on a yellow card. Schmidt can fill in, or Byram can fill in on both sides.
Or Byram,
so for me, we've got cover on both of them. It's more the Rodon one, but in an ideal situation, Rodon would go on longer, and maybe Voba might be back by then. I don't know how long Voba's out for. Back, But I feel like left and right back, if we've got to take a booking, then it's coming anyway. Hopefully, it just doesn't happen on the same game. We've got cover there for one game. That's what you've got to remember. It's only one game, and if you can pick a time, if you can pick any time, Darren, you're perfectly right with that. It's probably now. We've got over. If you'd have been having suspensions for Norwich, Sunderland or Friday night, I'd have had a different answer for you. But for this next run, it's going to happen. So let's get them out of them and then start afresh with them. So yeah, I'd agree.
He said Over is coming back just before the next international break, wasn't it? Though.
Yeah, he was saying before next. Yeah. But I think with that, like, a knee injury isn't just like, and it's kind of a little bit like your hamstring injury. It's like you still need time then to kind of build your fitness back up to get back into the squad. And then I just think like that, if let's say for argument's sake he is back, Rodon gets a suspension of Vorber straight, and then he's kind of thrown in the deep end, and I think you're kind of playing with fire there a little bit. It just, managers definitely look at it, and one thing that kind of got me thinking about it, because I was watching Chris Wilder's post-match again, and I got thinking about it, is that he done the same thing. He pulled Hamer out that last game, knowing that if he picked up a yellow card, he was missing for Leeds. So there has to be the opposite side of the fence, is that you have to pick and choose a game and say, look, right, maybe we could deal without him for this game. Look what you said, Matty. Like, let's say Tuesday night, Fark turns around and says to Rodon, look, you'll be on your best behaviour today. We'll let Junior kind of pick up his custom yellow card. We'll miss him for Bristol City. We can get Isaac Smith in there, or a Boyram, like what you said. The next game, maybe try and go with Bogle, like trying to break them up. I just think he has to be having a conversation. There's no way in the dressing room that he's completely blind to it and just saying nothing and going, yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about. You're suspension away, because like that, if they do all come on Tuesday night, because it's going to kill us. Then you're looking at Bristol City, a totally different game. Then if you have Bogle, Fairport, and Rodon all out, that's your back line. So it's about trying to manage that as well. And look, that's they're the fine lines and the 1%ers in football. I wasn't sure whether to bring it up. I said, look, I'll say it and see what your guys thinking of it was.
That's the reason why though I'm being a negative Nancy tonight. If I'm being honest with you, it's just these yellow cards are coming thick and fast as well. There's games coming right around the corner. I'm hoping that, as you said, Darren, Oakvark does have a plan in place. Maybe did pull Road on the side, because as Matty said, Schmidt and Byram can do a job for Bogle or Fairpo. But I hope Rodon doesn't miss a game, if I'm being completely honest with you. Because as much as of the next season about him.
It's just how do we, it's how do we manage it, and I think there has to be over these next 5 games where we say, right, we can miss you for that game. Look, just go out and do the cynical thing, and just pick up your yellow card, and we'll miss you for that Plymouth game. I'm not saying he's going to nail that Plymouth. He might look at Plymouth and go, no, geez, we might need him for like Plymouth away. I mean, maybe Millwall. There has to be a game where Farkas looking at this, and look, you don't want any of your players picking up a yellow card, but you have to be looking at these things. Richard Hogan says Byram and Smith must be looking at getting some game time, and that's it. Like they have to be, and we've obviously, it was the worst thing in the world for us Leeds fans when Gruev and Ampadu was out injured. We thought that this was the end of the world. Like Tanaka and Rotwell have came in, how are these going to do it? And they've stepped up to the plate. And who knows, Smith might come in and be unbelievable, playing cover for Fairport, and we're all looking going, Jesus, Junior's place is under a bit of a threat, or he might go in right back and go, Jesus, Bogle has to step up to the plate. But that's what you want. You want these boys coming in, not just giving a 4 or 5 out of 10 performance, just doing a job for the day and not really pushing them. You want these to have their bit between the teeth and going, look, I'm pushing you for your position. And then in Fark in his head going, geez, I might try Isaac for this game and taking Fairport out. I'm not saying that would happen, but that's what you have to be kind of getting these lads. I do think Matty kind of hit the nail, was we're okay in the full-back positions. If one of them do pick up the yellow, it's more so the road on. I think we need to manage the road on one a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. I think, you might not know whether to mention that point or not, but I think it's totally valid. They're never going to say impress. Take a yellow today because we're playing so-and-so, They're never going to do that. They'll always say every game's tough in this league, but it's like saying pick a team you've got to beat and you're in Premier League. They're not going to pick Sheffield United, are they? They're not going to pick Burnley. They're going to pick Plymouth. They're going to pick a Cardiff. They've got to be respectful to opposition. I understand that, and it'll never get leaked. But 100% these conversations will go on. But I just don't see a world where he gets injured. Sorry, when he gets he doesn't get a yellow card in these next 5 Rodon. So it's one of them where they'll already be thinking about it. James DeBeo, we're worried about him. It's one game. He might come in and have a world. I remember West Ham in Premier League when Cresswell came in and he went up against Antonio. And I don't know for love and money why he never played really again, Cresswell, because he was outstanding that game away at West Ham. Yeah. And that was away at West Ham in Premier League, and he was 20-year-old Charlie Cresswell coming in, and he was phenomenal. So we're worried because we don't know who James DeBeo is. We saw him in pre-season, and he looks handy, you know what I mean? It's pre-season. But it is only one game. We're not saying he's out for 5-6 games. It's one game. It's going to happen. And if it's going to happen, I'd rather it happen in these next few games.
Yeah, great. I think I bounced out there. Missed the end of your point there, Mike. Sorry, buddy. The one thing I was thinking about there as well, we're obviously talking about the boy coming in. Look, it is going to be now, unless Fark has again something up his sleeve where someone comes into centre half. Like there's got obviously been a little bit chat about Byram. Who knows what's going to happen? But I'd rather the boy coming in playing centre half with Pascal Strike than the boy coming in and playing centre half with Joe Rodon, if that makes sense. I just think Strike would be a little bit better for him, would kind of be able to kind of lead from the front. I think Rodon's game is Rodon's game, and that's it. And I don't think he kind of deviate. I don't really kind of see him as like a help or a dig out. I just think him and Strike might, and that's not seeing the two of them playing together. I just think it'd be a lot better. And like what you said, Matty, for one game, if he can come in for one game away at Plymouth with Strike there, and we can keep possession and keep the ball away from them and limit them to their chances and not give him anything to do, and we all turn around and go, brilliant, you've done your job, and that's what a squad is there for. He might come in and have an unbelievable game. We're all looking and going, Jesus, that might be a conversation to have then. Like, do you know what I mean? James the boy was pushing him, do you know? Like, so this is what you want. You don't know, you can't foresee what's going to happen in the future. And like, obviously, hindsight will always be a good thing. You'll always kind of look on the positive until it's happened and go, yeah, right, we shouldn't have done that. But I just think over the next couple of games, that it probably is the only thing that's going to hamper us over the next 5 is if we do pick up any bad injuries in them key positions, or like that is suspensions. Touch on a few more comments here. So Richard Hogan says, being like in CDM, would have liked to got Kouyaté, yeah, and I think on paper we were all kind of saying Kouyaté, it looked like the one, didn't it, to cover both positions, but there seems to be a lot of kind of floating around about him that he failed medicals or it was more money that he wanted, and there was definitely something that went on. This French player we're looking at can play centre mid. Yeah, let's hope he can do a job. We're definitely looking, but he's being smart about managing this period is going to be very important. Free agents need to sign to the end of October for them to come in any benefit. Yeah,
I agree with that. Completely agree with that.
Fact did he touched it. He did say if it doesn't happen before November, it's not going to happen at all. So let's hope we do get a bit of movement. I just think again, it's just being Leeds fans where we don't really care what we're getting in, whether it was a Kouyaté or I don't even. And you know how to pronounce the French boy's name. I'll just keep calling him Josh.
Yeah, Josh.
Me and Precy just kept saying Josh. Look, it's a body in the middle of the park, like just in case, do you know what I mean? In case we need it. Look, if he has experience, yeah. Look, bringing on Kouyaté again, it all looks good, but we don't know what happened like that. If it is more money, and look, there has to be a side of me as well that like you have to kind of have more leads. If he's have to come in and say I want 35 grand, and then it's all done agreed, and then the last minute he turns around and goes, well, do you know, I actually want 45. Like, do you know what I mean? He's not in a position to do that. Or if it's a thing where it's a fair medical, you don't want to be doing that either. Because what's the point of signing him, having him there? You're kind of giving him wages, and then he's not able to play. Then you're bringing him in for that reason to play. So everything, like you could look at it from outside and look at it on paper and say, yeah, it makes sense. But when you kind of read between the lines, something had to have kind of gone on there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, boys, nothing else to kind of touch on.
I think I'd probably do a job in centre half if they want to hit me up now. I'm probably the same size as them now, so.
I'd like to just add, do we think Farker doesn't trust Charlie Crew then? Because I know a lot of people have been excited about Charlie Crew. You know, in Wales International, I think it went against Azerbaijan or, you know, Montenegro, a lower nation, but still it was a senior cap before he'd even had a full game for Leeds United. And everyone's compared him, I think, to Archie Gray and thought he'll have that rise. But not everyone's going to be that. Yeah, and I think a lot of fans are wanting to see him, and it would be nice to see him. I just feel like at the minute the stakes are so high for Leeds. It's such a pressure cooker where there isn't really another chance we need to go up this year because there's no certainty what will happen next year. And I don't think he can afford to play Crew at the minute. And obviously that's evident. We've been looking in for the agent market. But I just hope it doesn't knock him. I hope he understands. I hope they've spoken to him. Because he'll say all outside noise, oh, we need a midfielder. And, you know, there's one they're fit and able to play. But
he's going to here, look,
me. Exactly. And the fact that he didn't even bring him on for 10 or 15 minutes. But, I mean, it's one of those games where it'd be maybe 2-0 up with 10 to go. He might have made that change, especially because I think Rothwell was struggling towards the end with his hamstring. But I just hope they've spoken to him and said, you know, you're in his plans, but just at the minute, it's not the right environment for you to get minutes.
Yeah, you have to be. Because you could kill him. You could kill the age that he's at now and the potential that he has. He has to be nurtured. He has to be minded. He has to be looked after. This age, I feel, for me, can make or break a lot of players' careers. And I can just pull one or two off the top of my head. If you think back to the Jack Grealish, when he was sensational. Like, he was sensational, but he was far too overplayed. And then towards the end of his career, the middle of his career, he started picking up all these injuries. You look at Marcus Rashford. Look at Rashford now to the Rashford that started his career. He was thrown in the deep end, all the responsibilities. It can go one way or another with these players and the responsibility that Lewis Cook as well, the exact same thing. And there's one that I remember back, and this is probably a little bit bad, I don't know if the 2 years remember. Do you remember Chris Dawson that used to play for us back in the League One days? He was a young boy coming through at the Leeds Academy, and he was the next big thing, and he was going to make us, you know, millions and all. And like that, he played a couple of games, he was thrown in the deep end. Did I bounce out there, did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, we could hear you though.
Did I? Sorry. He was thrown in the deep end and he played a lot of games, and then like that his career absolutely fell off a cliff. So I just think you really, really have to be careful with these players. It's different profile. You might look at the likes of Archie Gray, like that, his footballing background, his history, kind of like where he was coming from. Every player is individual, and probably out of 10 academy prospects that you have, only one of them might make the grade, and one of them is the Archie Gray. Look, we all kind of hope Crew is kind of the next big thing, but we don't really know that. But like exactly what you said, mate, it needs to be the right environment. You can't just throw this young lad on the pitch and expecting him to do everything, to be breaking up the play, to do what Rotwell's doing. Do you know what I mean? Look, if it comes down to it and push really comes to shove, we've seen Bielsa doing it with Lewis Bate as well. Again, when he was even putting him on, I was like, it's just not the time and the place. But when it comes down where it genuinely is no more options, like if we don't get a free agent in, and Rotwell and Tanaka do pick up an injury, well, what choice have we got? You know, we might have to put him in there. Again, we've obviously heard about Smith can kind of play anywhere. Is the thing that Smith can kind of come on there and do a job? Or we've obviously talked about Aronson coming back in. There's a couple of times where he kind of played the 8 under Marsh. Like, there is options there. It obviously just depends. Like, Farke is the one to kind of make the call. He trains with these players. He knows their mentality. He knows what they're capable of, what they're not capable of. So it's just, you kind of just have to trust your manager, and we can't really comment too much on Charlie Crew because we obviously haven't seen him for us. You know what I mean?
We never knew Archie Gray were going to play as many games last season, did we? We didn't have any clue that we were going to play that. And I think it goes to show last season we maybe didn't nail the recruitment as well because we had to rely on Gray. You know, we didn't get that right back slot sorted at all, and he had to play those minutes. We expected him to play midfield, but to be fair, if he wouldn't have played right back, he would have played in midfield. As the season grew, Archie Gray was always going to be in that 11. Even though we didn't see that coming at the start of the season at all. We thought he'd be more of a bit part player, getting minutes as and when, and he'd probably still be at Leeds now if he'd done that. But obviously with Crew, they've got the recruitment right, and even with the injuries, he's still. I think he'll play minutes, whether we get a free agent in that. I just think it'll be in games where we clear by a few goals. It'll be in less pressure moments. I think right now there's no way they can play him, and I think. As the season goes on, he will get these minutes. I don't think he's going to sit on bench and never play because he might as well be out. No. It's no good for him. I think it's right this season for him to be in and around the first team squad, be there on match days, see everything. See the adversity, 100%, but he will get minutes. I just feel like at the minute, it's not been the right environment. But I do.
I wanted to pause this one here because you were obviously talking at the time I pulled it up, and it was a good see Crew playing in the FA Cup, and that is like for me. And that's not, even if it is in the draw, if we get United away at Old Trafford, well, then give it to the young lad, turn around and say, go and enjoy it. No pressure, it's not in the league. There's no pressure on us, all the pressure's on them. Like, go and play. That's the type of environment that you want to kind of bleed these players in. Not there the other night against Sheffield United under lights, you know what I mean, and the crowd around them. Like, you need to kind of, like, every player's going to react differently. And look at Crew might be the next Archie Gray. We don't know that, but the other side of it is that he might fall through. So you have to look after these players, especially at this.
Well, that's the confidence building for him, in the likes of the FA Cup. And like if wherever we get through to the next stages and we keep going, but then you keep playing him, and that kind of gives him the experience, minutes for his legs. So then that's the conversation to be had. Then don't get me wrong, like if he plays phenomenal in an FA Cup game, and then they're saying to themselves, well, should we drop Road on? Should we drop Strike? It's not like an Archie Gray situation, but it will be good to know for us Leeds fans, and also for the FARC is that there's cover there. This young lad can play in that position if needs be.
Yeah. Can I just put a question to you?
Yeah, go ahead, buddy. Yeah, go on.
Off of the Crew situation, but still focusing on midfield. I know talking hypothetically here, but if Gruev and Ampadu were fit now, would you still stick with Tanaka and Rothwell? Is it their shirt to lose now, or is it, as we, not what you think Farke will do, but you personally, do you think that balanced line midfield should stay that way? Or, because I think Farke will change it back. I don't think Gruev, even if they were both fit, I feel like he's the one that would drop out for Tanaka naturally. But I know Ampadu was the captain. But as a fan, do you prefer this midfield? I know it's a small sample size, but in your opinion, do you prefer it?
At the minute, I do, if I'm being completely honest with you. If I had a choice and you said to me who are you going to start in midfield and everyone was fit, I would probably start Ampadu and Rotwell.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. Ampadu, is defensive awareness. He smashes through players. He's good with the ball. He moves it. And then just the performance I've seen Rotwell. I know Tanaka got the man of the match, lads, but Rotwell was phenomenal the other night, lads. He was unbelievable. Now, Tanaka, as the weeks go on, you'd say my opinion would change just based on what I know of Ampadu and the way Rotwell has been playing. That's what I would go with.
I think, I agree, and I don't think, and this might be a bit controversial, I don't think Ampadu was unbelievable. I don't think he set the world of light at the start of the season, to be honest with you. I thought Gruev was the better midfielder, and this is a bit my saying. I think Ampadu was a big miss because he's your captain, but I just think taking that aside, player wise, Gruev was the better player, so I think Gruev was the bigger miss. But over these last 2 games, and like what you said, Mike, it's a very, very small sample size, and probably after these next 5 games, we can really, really say what we think then. But over the last 2 games, I just think our balance in the middle of the park. Sunderland, it was really good, and it was unbelievable the other night against Sheffield United. And look, at everyone kind of likes different type of football. Everyone kind of like that key possession, tiki-taki, play in between the lines, lump along. Everyone kind of has a preferred football and what they like. My football, what I like is my midfielders moving the ball quick. And Tanaka and Rotwell give you that. Ampadu can be complacent on it at times as well. Can be hesitant, can put his foot on it. Nowhere near as much as what Kamara was doing last season, but can be a little bit hesitant with his passing, you know what I mean, and kind of slowing the game too much.
We're playing that long ball now.
Yeah, and we're starting to play, like Tanaka played an unbelievable ball. He was near the dugout and played it, switched straight over to Firpo. I know Ampadu has it in his locker, and we obviously seen it doing it the banter for the Peterborough game, but just not really enough. Not really enough for my liking. He has it in there, but I just don't think he does it enough. And that's what I just think at the moment. It is like it's a bit mad saying, but I just think these 2 lads in the midfield are more exciting to watch. I think they give us a little bit more, they progress us a little bit more. If the shoe was on the other foot, and we've obviously touched on it, is that with Ampadu and Gruev, we're definitely not going to give up as much chances as we would with Tanaka and Rotwell. But footballing wise, I think they're a lot better to watch. I think they move the ball, their tempo, and especially Rotwell in there. Like Tanaka is like, he's definitely silky, he keeps the ball. But Rotwell for me is like, he's just been like, how do you take him out of the side? Like if the 2 boys were fit tomorrow, how do you turn around and say, well, we're taking this back out and putting Ampadu and Gruev? You couldn't. Look, as you said, like it's a small sample size. We'll know a little bit better, I say, over the next 5 games how they progress. But Sunderland, I thought they were good. They were really, really good against Sheffield United, and they've stepped up. And there's one thing that stands out was before the Sheffield United game when Rotwell was interviewed, and it just didn't faze him. He was asked, well, how do you feel coming into the team under the circumstances? And he was like, yeah, look, we obviously feel sorry for the boys, but look, it's my time to step up to the plate. Like, I have to show what I'm made of. Like, that's what you want to hear. And he's came in and he's done it. And it's one thing saying it, but he's came in and he's done it, and he's made that short his own. Like, he could have came in and, gave a poor performance. We're all going, oh, look, yeah, we're missing out on Grove, and we're not. So, look, it's great to see. So, yeah, for me at the minute, I just think the balance of the whole team is a lot better with Tanaka and Rotwell in there. And
imagine that bench when those 2 are back.
How they're going to get back in.
Yeah,
that bench, you know what I mean? Unbelievable. When they're back, that bench, you've already got, in a minute, either Pirlo or Matty or Joseph on there. Maybe Dan James, maybe a Nonto or, 2 wingers anyway. Then you've got them 2 either coming back into the team or sitting on bench, or Rotwell and Tanaka dropping out. And that bench just looks stacked even more. But yeah, I know it's going to be a long time till we get them back. But for me, it just goes back to recruitment. For me, we got the recruitment right. We haven't been able to say that until you've seen Rotwell play, so you've seen Tanaka play. For me, now you've seen them play, you think when 2 of them, they come back from injury or 2 of them drop out, that bench is stacked. They've got the recruitment spot on. We sold Kamara for 8 million, who I thought was just a man filling a shirt for me. And they've got Tanaka for 3 million. What an upgrade. What an absolute upgrade. You look through the team. Bamford, what a main starter last season. When fit, shall I say. He's come out. Now you've got Pinto and Joseph. Upgrade. Right back, Archie Gray. Phenomenal talent. Yeah, we'll see what his future holds. Probably better, technically, than Bogle, but not at right back. Bogle, upgrade. The midfielders, like I say, upgrade. The only I even think, as a bit of an out there comment, Ramazani, I'm not saying he's an upgrade on Cree, but I don't feel he's a downgrade. I don't feel he's much worse than Cree's level. The only one you'd say is losing Georgie for Aronson, but because everyone else has stepped up, I don't feel like we're missing that. So I just feel like they got the recruitment bang on, and it's just been, catastrophic injuries that's really bogged us down a little bit. I feel like the football this season's never been an issue. I haven't looked at many games really. Yeah, it's been passive at times, but we've always been in control. I haven't looked at games and been disappointed with performance. It's been a mistake, the odd mistake, individual error, and it's been the world against us. It's been these injuries. The team itself, I've never had no issues so far this season at all.
Yeah, 100% agree. Gary Davis here has a good one. He says the 49ers have gotten the squad that he wanted, which we've obviously touched on that. It's definitely an upgrade from last season. He should be rotating the team. We still got one more international break in November, lads. Yeah, and that's it. The international break it'll be around the corner, but like that, these next 5 is going to have to be. No, I don't want to hear that word. Hate that international word. But yeah, guys, look, I think that's kind of fairly it. We've said we do 40 minutes or an hour and 15 in, but it's been. We're gonna have to name this.
Start squeezing the glass so you can get any more out.
We're gonna have to name this the final 2 points.
But yeah, anyone who doesn't know, these two lads came over from Ireland on Friday, and it were amazing. We met up with them just before the game because we were running late. Met up after the game, had a few beers, and then met up on Saturday as well in town. And I took my missus and Darren's missus there. And yeah, we were a really good weekend. Really nice to meet you boys. And it was class, wasn't it? And just nice that you went to all that effort, all that money you spent, all that time, all that effort that the boys delivered and got a 2-0 win for you.
To make, but like that, Matty, like we wouldn't without you. Obviously, we had our bags, we couldn't bring them to the stadium. We're like, what are we going to do? And you see, if anyone's seen the match day vlog, we're like, where are we going to do? It was like, there has to be somewhere in the car park we can like put them under the car. But I'm like, if we're spotted doing that, then like we could like get the whole game suspended. Like me and Dylan were like, how are we going to do this? Like, and then it was like, Amy was like, oh well, look, I'll just take one for the team and I'll just go back to the hotel. And she's like, no, clearly not. Like we're gonna have to start something. But so Matty came to our rescue, and lovely girl called Stacey took our bags in for us, and only for that
Stacey.
we would have been very, very late for the game by the time we got into the city. When we got in at Leeds Bradford Airport, I think it was like something like half an hour to kick off, and he was like, it's going to be 45 minutes to your hotel and then probably another half an hour back down the road, and we were like, what are we going to, we would have been done for. So yeah, can't thank you enough, Matt. It was unbelievable what you done for us, and then you gave us a lift to the airport as well. Yes, it was class. So and you'll
do the same when I come your way for a weekend in Dublin.
100%.
The most best part about that drive to the airport was when you were last put on Sean de Paul. What a tune! What a tune! What a tune!
You know what it is? It's one of them, innit, where, like I say, I think Darren's really good at this. You know, I'm still trying to get over that hurdle of confidence and stuff. But like, I want to come across with you two as you do with me. If you live next door, we'd be best pals. You know, we've met on our YouTube journey really early. We've only known each other a few weeks. You've come over, we've met up, and we want to have this show in particular as, you know, three lads who would be in a pub if you live close enough every week, every match day, having a drink and just saying will to rights about the club we love. And the fact you've come over from Ireland, you know, it means nothing where you live. You love Leeds United, and I feel the passion you have is same as me. Outside my family and work and stuff, you know, I mean, Leeds is everything, you know. Sometimes, like I say, sometimes they cross over, don't they? You know, I love my kids, sometimes they cross over. And it's just been a mint weekend to meet you guys, and I'm loving it so far. And I hope it comes across to everyone watching that we're just three lads that really like each other and really love Leeds. And it's just been class. I've right enjoyed these last few weeks getting to know you boys.
Yeah, that's it. Just authentic, and I think that's we both kind of set up our channels. Like, we're definitely not professionals, prim and proper. Like, we're just three lads that love talking about Leeds United. Can talk about Leeds United till the break of dawn, till the sun goes down. We love Leeds United, and that's obviously why we all kind of set up these channels, as the way kind of express our thoughts and kind of bring it out there. And like that, it was mad how we even met, because like that one, I was just going through, your channel popped up out of nowhere, and then I just wrote you, and just said, then look, I'm just going to ask this guy, see if he wants to jump on our channel. But it's like, we've talked like every day since then, and even like meeting you the weekend, it was absolutely class. You're a genuine guy, you've done loads for us already, and like that, I think it's probably a bit corny say, but it's definitely a friendship for life already. Like, and you kind of know like that in life. You click with people, John. You can, you know, a pal like that you've hung around with since you were a kid, and you don't really, you talk to each other, but you don't really have it. Like with you, we kind of clicked straight off from the very start. And Leeds United was obviously the big one, but obviously family and stuff like that. We like kids, we all kind of have the same things kind of going on. And yeah, look, absolutely class, and can't thank you.
Such an easy guy to talk to, Matty, you know, and that's definitely one thing. So putting off the fact of like talking about Leeds, just, you know, personal stuff, everyday life, you know, you can have that chat. So yeah, no, really appreciate everything for the weekend, you and your lass as well, and then really appreciate Piero as well, you know. So for anyone that just joined, Matty got me this lovely Piero. You know, I think the short is what makes it, if I'm being honest with you. You know? So yeah, no, I really appreciate that, pal. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, love it, lads. Yeah, so and before we wrap it up, or anyone in the comments want to get any final words in before we say goodnight? It's been class though, hasn't it, lads? The first one, the final point. I love it. Good excuse now to have especially now on Wednesday night now after Watford, when we're on Matty's channel on Wednesday night for the final point, to have a point on Wednesday night. Sure, what more excuse could you be? Just tell them, I have to, like, it's a final point, like.
There's nothing we can do. These things need to be drank. What do you want me to do?
Like?
Yeah. Naturally, you relax more as well when you've got.
Danny has here one for you.
Danny, that's what I'm saying. Like the miss is saying to me now, you know, you cuddle me at night time. Now I'm in this room now, and you know, me and Pero are going to be cuddling. You know. So,
Yeah. Poor old Joe, you know, feels left out with you.
Darren,
that's what.
Darren.
Yeah.
Before we go, are we going to do score predictions and a bit of a table?
Oh yeah.
Going forward?
Yeah, so Matty came up with it. I forgot all about that, Matty. Imagine we forgot about that. Yeah, so basically what we're going to do, lads, at the end of every final point, we're going to give our score predictions for the next game. We're not really going to touch on Watford too much or what the opposition are going to bring, because we'll obviously use that as like a build-up, but we're just going to give a score prediction for the next game, and then we're going to do like a little league table, so we'll kind of bang it into an Excel sheet, and every week we'll kind of see who's kind of leading it. And then at the end of the season, then whoever's obviously leading it is obviously the winner. But whoever loses has to do a forfeit. We haven't thought yet what the forfeit might be, but it'll definitely be a big forfeit. So yeah, like just kind of like a little
skinny
bit
dip and go for a swim.
Yeah, man.
So that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, look, at Matty, we'll go to you first. It was your idea. So Watford at home Tuesday night. What's your score prediction?
Quick and easy. 3-0 Leeds.
3-0 Leeds.
I was going to say that, so I'll say 2-0.
I don't know. I don't know. What? Like, what's what? What is this? What is that?
This is the final point, and
Bobby, this is the best
Hero.
football show on earth, and you're lucky to be here. Danny thinks 2-1 Tuesday. On Danny, you said we were going to lose 2-1 against Sheffield United, so you should predict Leeds to lose every single game from now on.
I'm still waiting for.
Amy Tolan's
my
going to go
apology.
3-1 Tuesday. So everyone thinks we're going to concede. Get the chat involved as well. 100% will do. Forfeit doing a stream. I might lose a couple of followers doing that now, Danny, but I'll have to get a couple of cans in for Wednesday. See, this is like, this is the subscribers we're trying to tap into. The guys like you, Gary, know exactly what I mean. Point in the pub and a chat about football. What else could you want? Dillo, sorry, what did you say? What was your score prediction?
2-0. I was going to say 3-0, but Matty took that, so I'll say 2-0.
I'm going to go comprehensive Leeds. I'm going to say 4-0. I'm going to say 4-0. I just think once the Leeds train gets going, it's hard to stop. And I think 4-0. I think we're going to blow them away. I think look with that, the personnel that's coming back, Solomon, James are back in there. Yeah, I just think it's going to be hard to stop on Tuesday night. And I think this is the start of a big run. And like that, I always try and go with my head. And I just firmly believe we'll blow Watford away. I know they haven't had a bad start of the season. They're only 3 points behind us, but I just don't think anyone in this league can match us the way we are at the minute.
Pero score hat-trick.
What does Danny says here? I don't drink, so I'll have a can of Monster. Yeah, guys, and look, obviously, yeah, you can have a pint of what Matty said. You can have a pint of tea. You can have a pint of Coke. You can have anything you want. We'll just call it a pint anyway. Watford a decent narrow win. Leeds. Ooh.
That point.
Love it. Right, guys, I think that's it from us. And to our boys before we sign off.
No, I think that's it.
No, that's it. Look, guys, thanks for tuning in. It's been really enjoyable. The very first, the final point. Absolutely loved it. It's something that we're obviously going to do as a weekly show. So on Wednesday night we'll be on Matty's channel. So if you haven't already, pop across to Matty and Imagine Not Being Leeds. Hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends, family, even any Scum fans that you know. Just send it to them as well, because that's what I do. All my friends are Scum or Liverpool fans. I just send it to them anyway. Like and then they just go, "Why am I watching Leeds Scum?" But then there's a few of them being in the chat, so like, do you know what I mean? So everywhere. And yeah, look, guys, again, thanks for all the support. Before you leave the video, please smash the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and yeah, thanks for getting all the comments in. It's been unbelievable. I don't think I missed out on any comments. I think that's it, is it, boys? Yeah, I think that's it from us. Right, guys, have a good one, and we'll chat to you all on Wednesday. Have a good one, yeah? See you later.
See you
Thanks,
guys.
lads.
See you guys.